guys, today I just want to go a bit more in depth to share about what it means when I always mention in my previous video when I say that you have to first deal with the emotions before you bring in the logic. I will also be sharing with you the different parts of the brain and why it is so important for us to first handle the emotions. So let's start off with the left brain and the right brain. So all of us have got the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. And the left hemisphere is involved with your logic, with the planning, with words. It helps you to be able to think logically and to be able to organize your thoughts into sentences. And then we have your right brain. This is where the creative side is on. This is where you feel your emotions, and it's the part of the brain that helps you to read non-verbal cues. So what do I mean when I say that when somebody is going through an emotional turmoil, or when somebody comes to you with a problem and they tell you that, I'm so angry that my boss is giving me so much work to do that I'm not able to finish the housework, to take care of the kids, and to get my work done. And we may fall into the trap of, we see the problem, right? As a third party, we know that, okay, the problem that you have not enough time, and when we want to help someone, we jump right in and say, okay, you know what, I will help you to do the housework. Yeah, that's a solution, right? But why this will not be effective in helping you to be able to meet the need of the person who is struggling with the additional workload is because when we are going through an emotional turmoil, there is a disconnect between our left brain and the right brain. So our right brain is flooded with emotions, and our left brain, basically where the logic is not able to fully function. So right now, this person who is in an emotional state, their right brain is just like flooded with emotions. And what we need to do is we need to first connect with this person in the area of the right brain. And how do you connect with the person in the right brain? You use your right brain to connect with the right brain of the person. You don't come with logic, your left brain, to speak to the right brain, because they don't connect. Right brain to the right brain, left brain to the left brain. So when this person is going through all these emotions, you come and the first step what you want to do is first you want to connect. You connect right brain to right brain and you say, hey, I can see that right now you are feeling so frustrated. Then additional workload is being put on you when you are already so busy with everything, and it makes you feel really helpless and out of control. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to tell the person, hey, I see you, I hear you, I am here with you. This basically means being present at the moment with the person in his emotions. That is what it means to acknowledge what the person is feeling. So remember, your right brain is also what controls your ability to be able to read non-verbal cues. So this is where when you connect right brain to right brain, on top of just affirming their emotions, you could also use non-verbal cues. And non-verbal cues could be things like a physical touch, like you could just put your hands on the person's arms, or even just give a hug, or even in your facial expression, you just give, and you look the person in the eye and you give this empathetic look, right? You don't be smiling at the person when the person is feeling so frustrated. It is not mirroring the person. So after you've connected, which is the first step, then you redirect to the left brain, because after you've connected and the person feels hurt and the emotions are being acknowledged, that is when we are able to bring in the left brain. We want to be able to integrate the left brain and the right brain, and the left brain is where the logic and the words comes in, and this is where you can think of solution to the whatever problem that the person is facing. Then you can say that, hey, I understand that this season might be a bit rough for you. Maybe I could help you to do the housework. Would that be helpful for you? And that's when you meet the partner in the left brain. A very real scenario could also be maybe a husband and wife made traveling plans, and in this relationship, the husband is very career driven. He is a good provider. He is very responsible. He has leadership role in the company and is responsible for many people in his team. But because of that, every trait has a pro and a con, and because of the hardworking side of him, he is often not available for his wife. And so together they made traveling plans to be able to spend more time together. And the wife is really looking forward to it. But one day the husband came home and said, hey sweetie, I can't go on this trip with you because one of my subordinate is very ill and he's unable to come to work for the next 1 month, and I have to help him with his workload, and because of that I'm not able to go for the trip with you. And that triggered the wife, because she was full of expectancy to spend time with him, and when the plan got cancelled, she was so upset and she's just so angry. And she might even say things like, you don't love me, I'm not important to you, which is why you could just cancel the plans on me. And of course she is being she's just using her right brain, and she just feel and overwhelmed with emotions, right? And at this point the husband, he might feel like, hey, a lot of times he might feel triggered, and he would go into the left brain side and go like, hey, if I don't love you, I wouldn't be providing for the family, I wouldn't be paying the bills responsibly, I wouldn't be taking care of you over the last 20 over years, right? So he might feel very indignant and start to go logic with her. But this is when she's gonna be, it's gonna be very hard for her to receive it, because she's currently on her right brain. So I know that this can be difficult when for the man, because our human instinct is to just react. But as we learn and practice, and as we mature, he's able to see that, oh, she is functioning out of her right brain. Her basically her left and the right brain is disintegrated, and right now she's just full on emotions and she can't be logical. So I'm going to use my right brain to speak to her right brain, and it could look something like that. Honey, I know that you've been looking forward to the trip, and I know that you feel like I haven't been available for you to spend time with you, and it makes you feel like you're unloved, and I see the pain, and I can imagine how disappointed you would be, right? So you use words like this to speak to the right brain. And once you see that, hey, she has settled her emotions down, because she's being known, that's when you can go to the left brain and say, if I had a choice, I would love to go on the trip with you, but I can't because something has happened to my subordinate and I need to take over his workload. Is there something I could do to make it up for you? So remember, step 1 is first you connect, and then you redirect to the left brain. And when you've redirected to the left brain, that's when you can find solutions together and to solve the problem. So you remember, you don't go straight down to solving the problem until you have connected with the person on an emotional level. Now, even for myself, I've come across situations where I'm just hurt and feeling really affected by a certain situation, and I have turned to people, and people had like shut me down with logic, or like even saying things like, don't allow your thoughts to ruin your day, don't allow bad thoughts to manifest, don't allow the devil to come and steal from you. And it is just not the right time. Like, I'm not ready to receive all this logic, I'm not ready to receive all this wisdom, and all I need you to do is just be present and just listen. And for myself, when I sit with somebody and they're just like pouring their heart out, and sometimes when I don't know what they want from me, I would ask them, hey, what do you need from me right now? Do you want me to just listen, or do you want my advice? So this is a very great place to even start. And don't assume that you know what the person wants. When you don't know, just ask, and the person will gladly tell you, I just need you to listen. And then shut up and listen. But I've also come to realize that is when I give my advice when the heart is not ready, the advice is just gonna fall on the ground. And what is the point of giving advice if it's not going to go straight to the heart of the person? Sometimes the best thing you can do is just shut up and wait for the right time when the person is ready, or when the person comes to you and say, hey, what should I do? And sometimes when the person can be rant, and they will ask you, what do you think? That is when you know that, okay, this person, their right brain has settled down and they're ready to shift to their left brain. What do I do when there is nobody around me that understands empathy? Or what do I do when in the middle of the night and everybody's asleep and I don't want to trouble people? Now, this is something that you can also do for yourself, to acknowledge your own emotions and to validate your own emotions. And what that would look like is simply placing your hand on your heart. And you can even use this to revisit baggages and past hurts that you have not dealt with. Sometimes This whole dealing with can sound very out there, like a concept, but what it means practically is just, talking to the past you that was hurt in that area. So for, let's say, if I want to, deal with the issue of, my parents' divorce, it could look like, little Grace. I'm sorry that you felt abandoned when your parents divorced. And it's not fair that at a young age you were forced to grow up and mature beyond your years. You are forced to grow up to be an adult even before you are emotionally ready and capable to do so. I'm sorry that there was nobody there for you when you were experiencing, all of this trauma, and nobody to help you to make sense of what was happening. I'm sorry that you had to fend for yourself, that you were thrown out of control, and yada yada yada. And you can just begin to speak to these areas of your heart that was unloved, as you were growing up, and just validating them and just acknowledging them and just have a really good cry. Yeah, and so a few days ago, that was happening in my bed as I was just going through things. I was just bawling my eyes out, and the next day I felt good, like I felt good. I was released. And sometimes all of this are like energy that's been trapped in your body that you need to release them, and the tears are just one way of releasing it and setting yourself free. Now the second method is storytelling. You realize that when we do storytelling, we're actually engaging both the left brain and the right brain. The right brain is where emotions are. The left brain is where you're able to organize your thoughts into sentences and verbalize it. So when you do storytelling, you are taking all those emotions and putting them into words. You are naming it, and you are, organizing the thoughts on the events, in a logical manner to be able to share. So when somebody is going through something, it's just sitting there and allowing them to share with you the story, allowing them to put into words those emotions. It could just be like, would you like to share with me what happened? And if the person is not ready, then don't force it. Yeah, so for example, this person might have, lost a dog, who is basically grew up with her. And it could look like, hey, would you like to tell me what happened? And she would say, Chloe passed away 2 days ago, and it has been very rough for me. And you could, as the person is sharing, you could just validate, and you can just acknowledge, and you can say that, yeah, I can imagine it would be so difficult to lose, not just a dog. Chloe was more than a dog to you. Chloe was like your best friend. She was there for you in your ups and your downs. And then she could say like, yeah, and then you should go on with a story. But really, when we try to connect with people, we are putting ourselves in their shoe. We're trying to, attune to them. We're trying to imagine what it's like to be in their shoes. Is seeing level, eye level to eye level. And some of the things you could say, I can imagine it must have been rough. I would be angry too if I was in your shoes. Things like that. For some people, it would mean journaling. So I do a lot of journaling when I was growing up to be able to make sense of what is going on inside of me, and really you are being an investigator. Like, oh, I'm feeling a certain way, and what you do is you investigate. Hey, what is this feeling about? Why am I feeling this way? What led to this feeling? Did somebody say something? Did I see something? Did somebody do something? Did somebody do something to me? So it helps me to be able to understand the emotions and then be able to communicate it. So when I'm able to do that, then once again, I get to integrate my left brain and my right brain. So, okay, the video is getting a little bit long. There's more things I want to share with you about the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain, but I think I'll wait until the next video. I hope that in this video, I have given you some practical handles that you could work on to help you to be able to empathize better, to be a better listener, to be able to be present with somebody in their emotions. So, and to understand why really when you try to bring solution and logic into a person who is still overwhelmed by emotions, it will not work. Until then, bye.